Well, judging from the carving on your desk, it looks like his name is Ozzy.
Yes, and apparently he rules.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
I've been noticing something recently in public statements by Ron Howard, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill about the era of Star Wars and the Kathy Kennedy era. And Mark was taking shade, was going off on the sequel trilogy, really throwing shade at The Last Jedi. And it is interesting to me that this is happening at this juncture, that he would feel free now not to go outright say it sucked and I had a terrible time, but to say things that would have gotten a phone call from Kathleen Kennedy and her screaming at him, which actually happened when he was warning people that The Last Jedi was not going to be the movie they wanted. And she really did call him up and let him have it, that he was hurting the box office. And he was right. Say what you want about Mark Hamill, but he knows that character of Luke Skywalker inside and out. And while he might be a crazy leftist suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, he had something to say about how bad The Last Jedi really was. And I think it kind of rolls over into the entire sequel trilogy. I think there's almost it's really weird, but it's almost like he feels bad on one hand for the actors and is really angry at Kennedy and JJ and Johnson. But let's talk about this. So, what's going on here? Does he know that they're rebooting the sequel trilogy? I really honestly think that there's something unsaid, because again, he would not have said anything about it in this tone if he didn't feel he could. And again, it just the politics of this is just fascinating to me, because when he was doing it during The Last Jedi press junkets, he was yelled at. I mean, like I said before, Kennedy yelled at him, and Disney told him to cut it out. I do think he did people a world of good. The people that stayed away were smart, but I also think they stayed away because, to be honest, The Force Awakens sucked. But let's talk, because this change of attitude is really interesting to me. I mean, he didn't feel like he was allowed to speak out until now. What happened? What's going on? What does he know that we don't know? All right, and let's actually keep talking here, because there's a lot more to this.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
My name is Jeff.
So this is the next point. Harrison Ford in Variety, and I've got the entire video downloaded on my phone here. Basically said nothing but nice things about Star Wars in this. And he also, strangely enough, brought up Adam Driver and what a great guy he was to work with, etc. There's a charity here. And I can't quite describe what kind of charity I'm talking about. But again, I feel like there's something out there in the undercurrents in Hollywood that knows something's going on. And for a long time, Cameron and I have both been talking about how they have to reboot the sequel trilogy. They have to reboot what they did. And because they broke it. And they have to fix it. They want it to be profitable. They have to fix it. And in my opinion, I think he knows something's going on. And it wouldn't surprise me that he feels bad for the actors and actresses that were in the sequel trilogy. And the reason why I say that is because the actors didn't write the dialogue. They didn't write the story. They just came and tried to do the best they could with characters that just were unappealing on every level, especially Ray and Kyle Ron. And I think Harrison knows that the fans feel betrayed. And I think that's perfectly fine that we feel betrayed by all this. Whose fault is it? Disney's fault because they wanted to turn over a profit way too fast. Not giving listening to Michael Arndt, who was the first person hired to write The Force Awakens, and he looked at George's treatments and started writing, and when they demanded it get done fast, he said it was going to take 2 years to do it right. And that's, I'm going to say, about right as far as Star Wars and a movie of this caliber should be. And Kennedy removed him from the project because he was taking too long. Okay, fine. So we get J.J. Abrams and the has-been Larry Kasdan, who, while he might have been the second writer of The Empire Strikes Back, and he might have written Raiders of the Lost Ark, he didn't write the story. And the story they came up with sucked. They had a story, George Lucas wrote it out. They had books and other things that they could have put in, but they didn't do it. What they gave the actors was garbage. Harrison Ford knows it. It was lazy filmmaking, way too fast. And now we've got venerated actors like Harrison Ford being charitable towards the younger actors who got screwed. Let's talk more. So now we get to Ron Howard. This was just posted yesterday. And he basically took to the newspapers to talk about how basically Solo was a creative clash right here. And it's a shame. And talked about a tonal disconnect with the directors. This is what I'm taking out of this. If they wanted a good movie about Han Solo, you hire somebody like Ridley Scott or Christopher Nolan or Sam Raimi or somebody like that to make it. You don't hire Lord and Miller. And when they hired Lord and Miller, actually a friend of mine is the uncle of one of these two, you're going to get something you didn't want. And they weren't, like Rian Johnson, they weren't really prepared or the kind of people that should have been making this movie. Too young, they're not serious, and they don't take what they make seriously. And I'm not talking about getting an auteur to make these movies. I'm talking about getting a director who knows how to put a story together that makes sense, that's consistent, and a cast that, oh my gosh, works actually. It wasn't just Lord and Miller. It was John Kasdan, who, Nepo baby, right? Larry Kasdan's son, Larry Kasdan was also on the set. Now, if they wanted to do it, they could have had him direct it. He is a director. They also miscast the lead. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Alden Ehrenreich looks like a garden gnome. He's too short. He's not a good actor. The fact that they had to have an acting coach on set for him it just says everything. And the fact that Ron Howard now is talking out loud about the mistakes that were made, and the fact that, yeah, he did use some of Lord and Miller's stuff, but the mistakes that were made were permanent. All right? And it's interesting to me now, because let me explain something. All three men that I'm talking about here are connected to people like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, right? So what I think is they know the change is coming, and they feel bad for the people that got thrown under the bus. And, I wouldn't blame Harrison for saying, the kid did the best he could with, in talking about Alden Ehrenreich, right? You can't blame him for saying that. And I think Ron Howard would say the same thing. But on the other hand, he was miscast. That's like taking a bolt and it's too small and trying to put it over a screw. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work. Anyway, I thought this was interesting, and I think it's a sign of more to come. And I thought you guys would be interested in listening to this, so I'll let you marinate in it and let me know what you think in the comments. This is Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.